This is Argus Media. I am Luna, the co-host. This is Zerithax, and we also have Freaky over here, the host.
Hi everybody. Sorry for the radio silence. We know we've been away for a while and we haven't put out any videos updating you on the progress of the project. So we hope with this video to apologise for that. For those of you who don't know what radio silence is, it's when a dev team basically goes quiet while they work really hard on features and all the updates in the background to then show you their progress when they're about to come out of radio silence. And to apologise for that, we thought we'd start our interviews off with the man, the myth, the legend himself, the creator of Project
Hola.
Ironclad, Zerithax. Hello, Zerithax.
I am Zerithax, or sometimes known as Akihiko Kayaba. I actually am pretty certain people called me by that name, like in person in VRChat, before I made that my nickname on Discord, though I can't remember because it was so long ago. So some of you might actually know me as Kayaba, but my actual name is in fact Zerithax. Though I'll go by either in this community for obvious reasons.
So with that,
That is
how did you get into this community and building it up and stuff and becoming the Kaiba of the SEO VR chat community, I guess?
That's a very good question. I'm not really sure why, of all the people, I was the one deemed the Kayaba. Though I guess it's probably because it was my original idea to start this project. Although I would not consider myself the Kayaba in terms of actual development of this project, because there's so many other people developing this project and working probably, in my opinion, harder than me on a lot of things. But yes, I am Kayaba because I started this project. And just kind of screwing around on VRChat. It feels like it's been more than 1 year, so now I have to remind myself. I'm like, how long have I been doing this? About a year ago. Let's see, it's June, right? Yeah. So about a year ago, in like late April, I started messing around in VRChat and trying to develop very simple things. Nothing complicated, nothing crazy. My hand just disappeared. There we go. VRChat, stop, please. So I started out developing VRChat, just messing around with like random projects. For instance, like lifting your hand up in the sky and shooting a rocket, I think. But there was no networking, which means if another person joined and lifted up their hand, they would steal your rocket at whatever point it is in the process of shooting, and shoot it off themselves. So it was very simple, basic code. It was just a little bit of detection of like, if my hand is in this position for a few seconds, do something. And that thought process is what brought me to realize that in Sword Art Online, the coolest thing about the series was that you could just swipe your finger down in VR and have a whole UI pop up in front of you with a billion different options for whatever you want to do in the game. And that is as simple as checking to see if you're making a gesture, which VRChat obviously has because there are so many different hand gestures you can do on your avatar. And then just checking to see if you've swept. So that was very simple code to write. I wrote that code myself, a very crappy version of it, mind you, in about probably a day or two. And then I just kind of figured, let's line up some buttons that look like SAO, make it so if I poke them with my finger, they light up.
Things do stuff.
And before I knew it, I had the whole UI. Again, it was very rudimentary, but it was a very simple feeling task. And at the time, I was like, if as something as complex as SAO's UI, which in my opinion seems to be the most complex part of the game, because the rest of it's pretty straightforward, run-of-the-mill, like basic RPG stuff, I figured if you can do something as complex as the UI in a couple days, you could probably make the whole game extremely quick. It's been more than a year now, and
I was gonna say,
yeah,
have you
no,
learned
extremely
about
quick.
like
Yeah.
that?
No, I've learned so much about development, but like I
Yeah.
still think that making SAO is easy enough of a task that we can do it as some unpaid guys who just like scattered all over the world and decided to start programming in our basements, Like it's still a very simple thing that we can execute in VRChat, but game development is never as simple as, oh, I have an idea for a game and it should work like this, and this is one of the 20,000 mechanics that are going to be really important, but I thought up this one mechanic really well, so everything else should come into place, right? And we've been picking up the pieces ever since.
Yeah, there's been a lot of development and like finding out that, like as Kyber said, the hand swipe menu was easy, but like getting mobs is harder. Then getting a trade system
so
is even
hard.
harder, and then like more systems
Yeah,
and stuff. So it's been, yeah. So which system
it's been
would
a
you
long
say is the
adventure. Yeah.
hardest over the year that you've looked at that you didn't realize was going to be like so hard? Is there a specific system that you've worked on or like design that you could say that one like really pissed me off?
Being able to pick up items that other players have dropped because of the way we programmed our networking. We call them item transfers internally, but when a player drops an item and another player has to pick up that item, we first have to check that you have enough room in your like dropped items to pick up another item. Then we have to make sure the person you're picking up the item from can like communicate with you and isn't in the process of picking up their own item or transferring an item to another player. And then we have to go through a bunch of crap, and basically if you don't do it right, you end up with things like that dual wielding bug that like everybody and their mother knows about, where if you pick up your friend's sword when you're already holding one, you get two instead.
Yeah.
Like there's so many issues through that, and a lot of that is being rewritten for 1.5. I think that last I heard we're on like the cusp of finishing our new item system. So we're going to be rewriting and changing a lot of the interaction code between players in order to clean up a lot of those issues, and just make it, you know, more simple to add however many 500 maybe items we add later in the game, you know? So, but definitely item transfers have been the biggest pain in the butt
ass,
and the
but
most
yeah,
likely like
they're
crazy
evil.
stuff.
So going through all the source material and stuff, which is the biggest challenge for you when doing like an SAO project? Is like, have you had like a really big challenge where you're like, there's no source material, we don't know what to do with this, that sticks out
Yeah,
in your
actually a good
mind?
example, especially because okay, so this is gonna come funny to a lot of people. I personally have yet to watch Progressive. That doesn't mean I haven't seen clips and scenes from it, but I've been trying to avoid spoiling myself on the story while combing through Progressive while to implement features. I have been told that the Progressive shop system is completely different from the shop system we made, but I've also been told that the shop system that we made was like a it pretty much supported or was going to support all of the features that they have in the shop system in the Progressive movies. But before the Progressive movie released, and then we released 1.4 and we have this marketplace, that was completely homemade. The UI was completely made up by myself. As far as I'm aware, nah, not completely. It was mostly Boku and I working together and being like, well, this should be here and this should be here and how should this work and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we basically had to make up the market system from scratch and try and figure out what kind of features we would want in a shop that would feel still like an SAO game. And then we released the market, and then Progressive came out and they said, yo, we actually know what the market UI looks like. Well, it turns out we want to obviously follow the source material, and since the only material that we've seen in the SAO universe that mentions the market is the Progressive movie, we are going to scrap our UI and make it more Progressive shop UI, because again, it's the closest thing we have to source material on that subject. But yeah, the making the market UI was really fun because it was really fun to like have a challenge where I had to be like, well, I know how the UI works in a bunch of places, so how can I guess it could probably generally work to match that vibe? And then we made the market, and in my opinion, it came across
It did.
pretty
It has
pretty
come
good.
really well and stuff, especially with the new item 2.0 that Live's doing. Is it looks really good.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the item
Um,
stuff that's gonna
the new
change so
item
much
system.
in 1.5. Yeah. See, we're not gonna like have very many deep dives into 1.5 features, but you guys might hear
But-
some little tidbits. You guys
Yeah. So the next part I would say is to also go into one of the reasons why we haven't put out any content is to talk about the new team system. So what do you feel to the new team structure with the way the teams are now set up?
I think the new team structure is awesome. I personally have Gold to thank for that. We had a new developer who popped onto our team a few months ago, and developed some items or developed some content for us, but then he also spent a few months documenting like issues with miscommunications, issues with people just not paying attention or not being active enough, and just like kind of analyzing where there are holes and where there are issues, and trying to identify what kind of work structure would best make up for all of those issues. And so he ended up kind of introducing this very like realistic business structure that people do in real life, and that is like having leaders of organizations, is what we call it, or team leaders. So like we have a 3D team lead, we have a design team lead, we have a programming team lead, and in the future we will have a audio team lead, and we also have a media team lead, which is Freaky right here.
Hello.
And so each team lead is just in charge of managing their contributors that work under them. And when a person applies to be a contributor for the team, instead of just saying, hey, I want to contribute to something, you say, hey, I would like to contribute to these teams because I have this experience. Here's my portfolio. And then if you get appointed, if you get hired, say you, then your team lead manages you instead of trying to like manage you and like.
So my next question is, obviously you're now the head of design, and you've been like leading the design team. You've also been working on the sheath system for 1.5. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it will work, or how it's planned to work?
So I can tell you how it's planned to work. I cannot tell you how it currently works because I paused a long time ago. I was doing a lot of programming for the team, and then when we were put in the position of like claiming roles, I had some thought about it for a long time, and I thought, I think I prefer planning and like communicating and like getting an idea, or like writing out the idea of how something should work, more than I do programming. So I've been more of a designer over the last while than I have a programmer. And so what I can say is I believe I've been told that Live, as he works on the Item 2.0 system, is going to be messing with sheathing.
Yeah.
Because he asked me a question about that the other day, and he was like, great, I'll incorporate that in here. And so I believe Live will be working on that. The way the system was supposed to work, it should be fairly simple. You should have a spot over both your left shoulder, right hip, left hip. And you can just take an item and like stick it over your shoulder, and you'll probably get... My favorite VR game is A Township Tale. We'll probably take a page from their book and give you some sort of like sound effect or something, right? That lets you know when you're in range to sheath something, and then you let go and it'll snap from your hand to that spot. It will no longer be grabbable by any other player. It can still only be grabbed by you. It will still be considered out and on your person, which means in terms of like how much weight your character has on them, you will still carry the weight of the object on your shoulders or on your hips. But this will give you the option to just stick an item on your hip or stick an item behind your back, and you know where it is for later. Nobody else can grab it. It's not going to hurt anyone, but it'll just be stuck to your character floating there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like, we're not going to try and stick sheaths, like actual sheath models that like resize with your avatar or resize with the sword, because it's going to look weird, because it's going to have to like snap around the item when you put it there, and then you'll probably just end up looking like you have a big toilet paper roll sticking on your sword or something like that.
If other people change the avatar as well, custom avatars do conflict with that system, so...
Making things support the possibility of like infinite kinds of avatars has been a huge hurdle. I'm not going to say a pain, because it's not annoying. It's like, we need this feature, we want this feature, and we value this feature, but how are we going to do it? And then we go through it, and then it's like, that's kind of weird, but I guess I cannot explain to you how the code for that works right now. I can just explain to you that I don't know how it works. But I just know it does.
It is there.
Yeah.
And there should be a screenshot of roughly what it looks like on your screen right now, popping about somewhere.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So yeah,
do it.
Yeah, there's a screenshot there for you to see the balls and stuff. So we just spoke about the sheath system there, which is amazing, and Live's doing such great work and such. What
He's
about?
doing awesome
He
stuff.
is
with all the
doing a
items.
lot of good, like the item system, and a lot of other things that he's doing in the background. As is like the whole team, because we've grown quite large in the team. So, Luna, shall we ask Kyber the number one question that we get asked when we're in the world, and that is,
I
what
I think we
leaks?
totally should.
I think we should, shouldn't we? So, Kyber, what
Yeah.
leaks for 1.5 can you give us? What juicy little gossip that you can tell people?
I generally say the same thing most of the time. If somebody asks me for a specific leak, I say go find one yourself because they're all over the Discord. I will say that occasionally I see fun conversations going on in the Discord, and I might drop a fun picture that a world designer has been working on, which is very easy since I am the one working with the world designers. I get to see all the beautiful pictures they're posting all the time. But yes, if you guys would like to find any leaks or have any curiosity you want to peek on this project, I would recommend going to the Discord. We are always having conversations. I'm always having conversations with people in there. Other developers are frequently having conversations in there. We're fairly active in the Discord because that's how we communicate with each other. That's basically our Slack for our team.
Yeah.
So that's a great place to go if you want to try and find any leaks or
info.
secret
In fact,
information.
actually, recently, speaking about this, Kyber did just leak some whale photographs in the Argus Media channel of the Discord. So if you do join the Discord, you can see some early photographs of some of the Patreon people who've been testing for us. And then, as I said, Kyber's put out some leaks, and I believe Boku put out a little video clip
Did he?
sometime last
I don't
night
even
or
know
something.
if he did, but listen, if he did,
He
I
did,
believe
yeah.
that he did.
Yeah,
But
there's
I
a
was
little
not
clip.
there for that.
Yeah, there's a little clip in the media channel for leaks and stuff. So if you want to find out more leaks, visit the Discord, which is discord.gg/ArgusVRC.
Yep. Very
Also,
simple.
along with that, you can also look at our Twitter and Instagram. We do post every once in a while.
Yep.
We might.
We're trying to be a little bit, especially again, if you want to apply to manage our social media pages, that is also a thing that we will need on the media team. But yeah, we do want to start posting infrequent or maybe even frequent leaks on our Instagram pages and our Twitter. We're gonna have interviews like this and maybe like trailers and leaks on our YouTube. So keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be frequently posting all over the place and trying to give everyone the best picture that we can of development as it moves forward.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Kyber. Hopefully, we'll have you back on in a couple of weeks once more developments have happened. We do hope to rotate the developers out. So, like the last video was Gold, who Kyber was talking about. He's helped us tremendously. Today we've got Gold. Hopefully we want to get Boku and pretty much all the team. And even if you're a contributor, we'll be going through some of the contributors as well. So thanks for coming on, and thank you everyone for watching. And goodbye.
Yep. Goodbye.
Bye.